Alright guys, what is up? This is Aaron from Sound Resolution, and here we are playing another Team Fortress 2 video. This time I'm running as the scout, sort of playing a flanking role, trying to get behind the other team and cause some havoc. We're kind of pressed up here against defense where we are sort of, well, we're actually about to lose, not sort of about to lose. So, let's see what we can do. I mean, I'm dead. Oh boy. Yep, there it is. Oh boy, alright. Well, today, I wanted to discuss, well, the recently revealed, or I should say the recently described, somewhat in-depth consoles and how they're going to affect multiplayer games. And a lot of people say that these consoles are coming too early, that there was some life still left in these consoles. And I agree there was some life left in them, but I still think it was the right move to come out with these. Oh, I missed it. Alright. I still think it was the right move because I think the amount we can gain in them right now is extremely high. So, alright, let's just run away, get him to chase us, that's the goal. Alright, solid. Get him, alright. And, that's a heartbreaker. But I think the things that these new consoles will give us is the ability to make bigger maps and sort of to give us bigger games, which is obviously a positive. And then also the internet connection in general. Now that it's at a place where it's much better, Microsoft and Sony specifically can sort of do, it can just hold more. And so I think this guy's a spy. Yeah, alright, got him. It can do more in general with how many players it can hold, which is also a positive. And so it gives developers sort of a bigger freedom and benefits games quite a bit, like Battlefield. Probably the game that benefits, you could say would benefit the most from it, which is really cool. You can see games like PlanetSide 2, you know, kind of get onto the consoles, games like that, really massive games, which is also a positive. That was weird. But, so while there's some good things, I also think that it could end up to seeing some bad things, because it's like when you're a kid and you got like, you know, a box full of crayons and you just want to use them all and you just, you know, use them all in your first drawing and it doesn't look very good. So I think developers might be prone to that, where they could end up wanting to use all these tools they have now, bigger maps, bigger players, and it could lead to maybe not as fun of games, maybe not as structured games, or not as well thought out perhaps, because they're just sort of going crazy with all of the graphical tools they have and all of the, you know, trying to stuff as many players onto a map. And it could be bad in some ways in that regard, but overall, obviously, as they learn the system and what they can do with it, obviously it'll be a huge benefit to games in general. But that is the one fear I have for games in general, for this next gen, is that it could end up being somewhat bad if devs aren't sure what to do with things. So that's really my only negative thought. But otherwise, it's I think it's a good time right now, because the last 3 years have been very stale for multiplayer games in general, and I could not get away there. But the last 3 years, I think you've seen some slowing down. Really, I guess most notably the critically only really acclaimed title, I think, critically and just among general gamers, is Battlefield's probably the best shooter, and I would contend with that. I think Battlefield 3, you can argue it's the best shooter on the market, but also I think Battlefield 3, I don't think it's better than the previous. I don't think it's better than the previous Battlefields. I actually think it's one of the worst Battlefields, which. Not saying it's a bad game, I just don't think it's a great Battlefield game, because I think the other ones were better. Oh, I was feeling that one. I thought I was going to get that heavy. Alright, well, so, and I think a game like Call of Duty is probably going to be the game that has the least to benefit from, because it kind of relies on tight, narrow, sort of a somewhat medium player count, low to medium player count with small maps, and so and then to try to really push the pace. So I don't think it's I don't think Call of Duty will benefit as I don't think Call of Duty will benefit as much, but you know, I think it's time for a new game. Hopefully Titanfall, as I've said before, is the game that sort of steps up and delivers a true next-gen experience. But I probably think that it'll be in the future where we see that greatest change. And I also believe sports games are probably the ones that have the greatest to sort of gain from, because of the ability to do much better physics and the player count to where you can have multiple players. Because I'm not sure there was a single sports game that ran really well with a lot of players. FIFA tried, NBA 2K11 tried, or actually the 2K franchise in general has tried with larger player counts, and it just hasn't been super successful in terms of the connection. So we'll see how that turns out, but I think sports games have the most to get from this generation, and I think certain shooters could really benefit. So that's sort of my idea. But, you know, what do you guys think are going to be the things that are improved the most in this next generation? You know, or at least what things you want to see improved most. Like, what do you want to see? Do you really want to see the huge maps, or do you want to see the, you know, the sort of a little bit more in-depth sort of Titanfall-esque, even though it seems like it's a bigger game, it seems like it's still a very focused game in general. Can't go. Oh. But, so just curious as to what you guys think of that. So definitely leave a comment if, you know, you want to add to the discussion, and I enjoy that. Also, if you really liked what I had to say, definitely drop a like, or at least you thought it was interesting and I presented it well enough. Even if you didn't agree with it, definitely drop a like, or subscribe if you want to be part of this conversation of multiplayer games, of games in general, in the future. So definitely subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time on my next video. It will likely be a completely different game, and I will not release what that will be. You'll have to wait and see. So, alright, I hope to see you guys next time. Whee!